Hi everyone, it's James here from EcoSend, and today I wanted to show you how to build an email newsletter in EcoSend from nothing. This is the first time I've done this end to end and done it recorded, so we'll see how it goes. But let's try this because hopefully it's a really helpful thing for everyone to see. Might learn something myself too. Thanks for watching in advance. Really hope this is helpful, and thanks for everyone. If you're using EcoSend already, it's awesome to have you on board. We know a lot of you have been asking for more tips and tricks and help on how to use the platform and get the most out of it. So I will make myself a little bit smaller and start sharing my screen so that we can dive in. So let's get started. Now, for starters, what we need is an EcoSend account. We need to have everything set up, and hopefully you can figure that out and get that all set up yourself. And if you need any help, we're obviously here to assist. But we'll assume that that's already been set up, and we want to send out a newsletter. It's a really popular thing to do. It's one of the best ways to talk to your audience and communicate with your audience. So much more control over your email communications than something like social media, where things are definitely out of your hands. So we're seeing this explosion in the number of people using newsletters to communicate with their audience and build businesses. It's really exciting, and we're really thrilled to be at the front of that and helping customers do that all across the globe. But creating a newsletter can be quite a daunting task. There are a lot of things to make it easier, but let's just say you want to do something totally custom for yourself and make a new template essentially in EcoSend. What we're gonna try and do today is create a template in EcoSend, and I've already designed one which should give us a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be aiming for. Now, here's one I made earlier, and the idea here is that we're going to be making a newsletter for this chap called Hugo, who's a spaniel, and he's got a big audience of fellow spaniels who are following along and have wanted to sign up to learn more about, well, how everything that a spaniel would want to know: where to go for walks, where to go and get the best treats, what are the best treats, all sorts of stuff. So Hugo's got his newsletter. We're going to help him basically make this in EcoSend. So we've got a bit of a design and some copy, and kind of already got that all designed as an idea, as a starting ground. But what we need to do is actually make it into a newsletter that can be sent. We don't want to just be sending an image. And we've got some of the assets prepared, and we've got the copy written. One of the things we've done at EcoSend for a long time, and throughout my career, we've often tried to write the newsletter in text first before getting into any of the design. So we use a great tool at EcoSend called Notion, which many of you will be familiar with, which is often a good place to just draft down and what's the content, what's the written content, because most of the newsletter is content. So most of the newsletter is writing and copy, and so getting that right, thinking about the body text, the titles, whether you've got any calls to action. It's really good often, whether it's a web page or an email, to kind of try doing that just in text first, because that can really help with the structure of everything. And it also helps with thinking about things like the titles, but also when you think about someone reading an email just end to end, just the what's important, what's less important, what's critical to read, what's less critical. So we will give this a go and see what happens. So I'll bring up EcoSend, and here I am in the EcoSend demo account. I'm going to make myself even smaller just so we can see what it is. We'll go to broadcast. We'll go to new broadcast, and we won't be using a simple email today. We're going to be trying the drag and drop email builder. So let's see. We'll start with blank slate because we're starting fresh. Now, EcoSend always quite helpfully pre-fills some stuff here, but we'll see if that makes sense. By the way, one other tip to get a little bit more screen space. Well, one, I can make my window full full width, but also in EcoSend, if you hit the slash key, that's the / key on your keyboard, you can expand this area, so you get a little bit more space to view things. Right, so what have we got here? We've got the footer helpfully already placed in, which is quite handy. But I think one of the first things I can see is we've got this grey background. So if we go over to body and set the background color. Now I did make a note of our colors that we want. So it's quite a light background color, sort of slightly pinky color. There we go. So that is what we want there. And then we've got no content. So let's start adding some content. So what do we want here? We want to add some content. We want to add an image. Let's add an image. So this is going to be our logo for the Hugo newsletter. So I think if we do that and we upload our logo, there we go. We've got a lovely big logo there. Obviously, that is a little bit too big, so we want to probably take off auto width, bring this down, maybe about there. Let's do that. It's always really good practice to add alternate text to images. So whenever you're putting an image in, adding alternate text is really helpful. Basically that means, well, for everyone, if you hover over when you're viewing the email with your cursor, you'll be able to see like a description of what the image is. But this is really important for email because sometimes images don't load in email clients. It's a rarer thing these days, but sometimes that's the case. But also for accessibility, it's a really good idea to put text in the alt text in, so that anyone who's got any kind of visual impairment can understand via screen readers and all sorts what is in that image. So we'll just put in here Hugo Adventures logo. So we'll do that. Now, if I actually had a website for Hugo's Adventures, I would add a URL in to link to that, but I don't, so we will not be linking to that right now. What we also want to do is get rid of that white background. So let's see, how do we do that? Now it's probably set in here somewhere. I have a feeling it may be set elsewhere. Let's see. This is what I meant by a bit of trial and error today. We're going to be testing things out. We're going to be making mistakes, but that's all part of the parcel of building things live. I'll figure out that in a sec. I'm sure it'll become clearer once we get going. Let's have a look. So we've got the logo in, that's great. What we want to do now is add some of our key blocks. So we've got, if you remember, if I go back to it, I can bring this up actually. We've got a few sections here. We've got the Hugo Adventures logo, we've got a big hero image here, we've got some body text, and we've got a section here of a title, another image, text, big call to action, another section with some repeating kind of elements, and then a section down here with another title, call to action, and then a bunch of text down there at the bottom, which is kind of the footer area. So we've already done an image, why not do the next image, get that done. So let's see, we'll go into content and we'll add another image and we'll upload our we don't have our image. Let me just go, this is a little bit how the sausage is made, but we'll go into the file I was exporting these assets from in Figma just a sec. This is more of a designer piece, and I'll just be quick because this is not part of the main demo. If you want to know more about this, do let us know, and we'll maybe do a separate session on the design piece. So we'll do that, we'll close that, and there we go, we've got an image. Okay, cool. So now we've got our hero image. We'll add that in there. Always important to stay hydrated when working on emails. So we've got that image in there. And again, we set it to auto width, so that will be taking the width of this main container here. Again, we'll do an alternate text for this. So Hugo, the spaniel, on a red background with hills and and countryside behind him. There we go. Okay, cool. So we've done that. But now, you know what? This could be where we set our background. Let's try that. There we go. That background color, the white there, is actually being set on a column. So if we set the background color, we could set it to nothing actually. No, in fact we want to set it to nothing. We'll set it to nothing. Then it's just going to adopt the background of the main page. So we've already got something shaping up here with the logo and the hero image. The next one, and one of the most important things, is we put in some text. So we will add our body text in here. Now this is where having written the text in some sort of other system like Notion could be really handy, because all we do is copy and paste. So we will remove formatting, so we're going native into what we are doing here. I'll just move my face up here a sec so that we have got our text. Right, now what we want to do is probably have a color for this text that is a little bit more bold, so it's a little bit more visible. We could just go for black because that's going to stand out the most. But what we want to do, I think we should make the text a little bit bigger, maybe 16px. Probably want to increase the line height a little bit as well. Maybe 150 is often my preference. And then just check, maybe we could add a little bit more space there, so it's just a little bit more readable. Okay, there we've got our text in. Okay, that's good. Right, if we just refer back to our template again, we've got the first main section we want to do. So we've got top treats for summer with these delicious looking dog treats and some copy, and then this call to action. So we'll build this out next. So I think what we'll be wanting to do, we'll want the copy section to actually be quite similar, but we will, let's see, we'll probably want to do a heading and then an image and then the body and then the call to action. So the heading, our heading was top treats for summer. So we'll do that, but this is where we want to style this up a little bit. So we'll call this, we want this to be an H2. Probably 20 pixels is probably an okay font size, but we want it to be centered. We want the color to be our nice pinky red. So again, I'll grab that from our notes from we made earlier. We'll pop that in there. There we go. This hex code, by the way, if you've not come across that before, these are called hex codes, and they're basically kind of a code-based way of defining a color on the web. You'll see them if you get more into email email work in website development, those codes come up all the time, and they basically define the amount of red, green, and blue within the color. If you want to get nerdy about it. One of the other things we've done with our text is we want it to be a bit bolder than that, but we do also want it to be all caps. So let's see if we can set that in here. I'm not sure if we can. Don't think we can set it to be all caps. Yeah, I'm gonna say we probably can't set that to all caps. So one of the things we'll need to do here to make this match our design, instead of setting this in the editor, we'll just have to rewrite that as in capitals. So top treats for summer. Now, it's not usually recommended to write everything in all caps, because that does look like you're shouting sometimes, but the design definitely calls for that, and unfortunately we can't make that all caps in here, but there's a workaround, thankfully, as is often the case. Now we'll also, let's just duplicate our body text from the intro, because we want some body text in here for the top treats for summer section. And we will take the text we wrote in our notes to place in there. We'll remove formatting again. Oh dear. So we match the style above. So we'll do that as black again, and then we want line height to be that. That's all good. And then we'll just space this out again, and just for fun, editor's note, we could put in italics. So we've got our text now. And then if we go back to our design again, we had the image. So we'll get that lovely image in there. We'll add that in. And again, we're getting familiar with how to do this. This is the image of the treats. So it's just the same one we've done a couple of times now. Again, we'll put some alt text in there. So delicious treats for dogs for the summer. Maybe be a bit more specific. 3 delicious treats for dogs for the summer. There we go. And we'll do auto width so it fills this container again and works on mobile and everything. So that's that. So the last part of this section is to add a button, our call to action. So we'll drag that out. One of the nice things about this builder is it makes it really easy to add these common components into your email. So we would want to link to our blog post if Hugo's Adventures actually had a blog. For now, we will just link to EcoSend.io. But this is where we have some fun with the design, because we want to set the background color to our nice pinky red. So we'll go grab that again from our colors. There we go. And the text color will make it match the background. So you get quite a nice little effect, slightly duller than the white, which maybe there's a little bit of a compromise there on readability. But you get this effect where the button looks like the text is kind of cutting through to the background. What we want to do here is make that bold. Probably want to increase the font size so it matches our body text. And we could add a little bit more padding to the top, just a little bit. And the bottom, we want that to be equal. Now, what we want to do is round the corners of that button so it's like a pill-shaped design, as we had earlier. Now, doing that does actually make it look like we probably want a little bit more padding, so we want to add a little bit more on there. And then we could probably add a little bit more on the left and right too. again, we can't do, from what I can see, we can't make the text all caps by styling it. So we'll write our text as all caps. So we'll just pop over to, what did we say? Make me drool is this button. So we'll go back, make me drool. There we go. So there we go, that's what we've got. I think actually, if I go back in, I think we actually want a little bit more padding on the left and right to really match the design. So I'll add a little bit more. Doesn't hurt to make call to actions as big as possible because they are the thing you want your readers to be clicking. So we've got that. And then I think also let's just add a bit more container padding so that we space it out a little bit and give it a bit more breathing room. Let's not forget that on when people are looking at this on their phones, they're tapping with their finger, just making sure it's a good bit of space. So there we go, treats, top treats for summer. We've got our image, we've got our text, and we've got our call to action. If we just compare that to our design, we get in there, I think we're starting to shape up. So we've got a nice section there, and potentially that can be a reusable section, which we could talk about in a separate video, but that could be used in future issues of this newsletter when Hugo wants to feature something else. So we've done that, we've done our treats for summer section. Now we want to do walkies around the web and then tail wag of the week. Okay, so walkies around the web. Let's do this. So we want to basically duplicate this title because it's another title, and we can probably speed up a little bit because now we've actually built out quite a few of these pieces. Got the body text. In fact, why not duplicate as well? So so we've got walkies around the web, and then we've got tail wag of the week. So we've got both of those. And then we've got some more body text. So we'll bring that down there. And we've got two lots of body text actually. But we've also got two lots of secondary headings. So if I'm going to duplicate this heading, and we're going to make this an H3. So if you've not come across this concept before, this is H1, H2, H3, H4. And essentially that's, again, talking about the structure of the page and your heading. So H1 is usually reserved for the #1 most important title of the whole email. And then H2 would be your secondary. And then H3 would be within those. So it helps, again, with the structure. If you've done any web design as well, you'll be familiar with that concept. And it helps thinking about the structure. So in our design, we've actually left aligned these H3, so we'll do that, and then they're a little bit smaller, so we'll make them 16, and that first heading is called #1 Park for Sticks winner announced. #1 Park, and these are all caps again. #1 Park for Sticks winner announced. And then we of course want to do that for that same style for the other section here. So how many treats do you really get from your human? And then again we're in capitals. How many treats? Human. And then we just want to copy in our, I think actually if we do keep formatting, there we go, that's what we want, and then keep formatting, there we go. So as you can see, we're starting to get into the flow. We've already done that whole section for walkies around the web, which is brilliant. And then we've got our final section, tail wag of the week. So again, we want to make sure we get this copy, and then we've got the image. So and a call to action. So let's do this. This should be pretty similar to what we did before. So we'll copy that. We'll bring that down here. Bring that down there. We want to do another bit of body copy. So we'll take that one. And we'll take our text that we've already written and place that in there, keep formatting. Just make sure that's spaced out a little bit. Got to change out send your wag snap. So we'll change that. So we've got our button there, and then we've got one more image to do. So we will do that. Image. And then we'll go grab our image and upload that. And that's automatically sized. We'll just do alternate text. Photo of Harvey the Labrador. There we go. Now, something I wanted to call out with the images here, and this is something that we talk to our customers a lot about. These images are each a little bit different, but one of the things we try to do with this email is ensure that each image is as simple as possible, really. So we've tried to be a really restricted color palette, but also it means that these images are actually really, really lightweight. So if we just look at our files here that we've been uploading, this PNG here, it's just 28 kilobytes. In comparison, adding photos like this can be a lot heavier as a file. So that takes longer to load, and from an environmental perspective, that's often more data to send and store. So we often work with customers to help them think about what images need to be in their emails and how can they be as efficient as possible with those images and the files that they're sending. Most often, when you're sending images like a logo or simple line drawings and vector style art, you want those to be PNG format because they are much more optimized for that. And 28 kilobytes for this image is quite good. It's Retina, it holds all of the detail. But when you're sending a photo, you want that to be saved as a JPEG usually. So we've saved that one as a JPEG there. I'm sure this will be a bigger file. Let's see. So it's quite a lot bigger actually, 382 kilobytes. In fact, what you can do is compress that image as well. Something we're looking at bringing into the EcoSend platform itself. But there are tools out there that you can use to compress images before uploading them. So that will help you keep the quality of the image visually, but compress the file size quite a lot more. So I'd recommend doing that as well. So we've got that image in there, we've got our buttons in there, we've got our text in there, and last but not least, we do just have some sign-off text. So we've obviously got this helpful footer in here, which is great. We actually do have more options for the footer format coming soon, but for now this is the default, and we hope you think it'll look good. But I'll just add some extra footer text, because in the template what we want to do is be linking especially to our social profiles. So I'll just paste that in to keep formatting. So we've got some dog-friendly social networks here, and we'll just make this text a little bit smaller, maybe 14, and then just check our design actually. So we did actually center this, and maybe we could add a little bit of padding around this as well, just to ensure it's spaced out. And then we also probably want to make these clearer that they're links. So while that wasn't specifically in the design, I think we could make these our red color that we've been using throughout. So I'll just do that in here. So we can make that our red insta pour. Let's see. There we go. And then Rex. There we go. So we've got that done, and then in the template we did have some separate info here about why you're receiving the email. We've already got that in the default footer, so up to you whether you want to change that, but might just keep it as is for now. And in fact, no, let's put this in just to be sure. So we could actually just duplicate that and then paste that in, keep formatting. There we go. And we could perhaps just tone down that text a little bit. If we put our red in there, could just use that as slightly lighter color. There we go. So what we should have now is, after about half an hour of tinkering around, a nicely designed email newsletter ready to send, ready to go. What I'm going to do is just do a little bit more tweaking, because we want to make sure this looks as good as possible. We just want to improve the spacing a bit, and this is something that can make a big difference to the readability of our emails. So we want it to be as easy to scan as possible. You know, people are reading this. You know, people, if you're lucky enough that someone opens the email, we want to give them the best reason possible to actually go through and check it out. So I'll just add a bit of padding in here, just to separate and distinguish the sections a little bit more clearly. Sometimes, well, often a bit of white space, call it white space when there's sort of a gap between content, can really help each individual section breathe a little bit more. And then we might want to add a little bit more padding just below this. So if we just do this, maybe we could do 80. Now if we just scroll through that, got a little bit more space between everything now, which should help it all breathe a bit. We've got our alt text on all of our images, and it's all looking pretty similar to our template. So what we can do now, well, we need to set a subject line, and we also need to set our plain text fallback. So what we can do there is go to the EcoSend subject line generator and see what we can do. Write a subject line for Hugo the Spaniel Adventures about our first newsletter, and see what we get. So we'll see what the AI subject line generator will give us. Okay, your exclusive preview. Okay, let's do that. We've even got a little dog emoji in there, so we'll pop that in. Okay, and then we'll do the plain text fallback, which basically is a good idea because if for whatever reason the HTML can't be loaded, then the plain text is a great fallback, and there's all sorts of reasons why the plain text is a good thing to have, and it auto generates from what you put into the HTML. So we've got that whole all of it pre-done there. It's also going to say, actually, one of the things we do want to do is have a, instead of doing hi there, one of the great things in EcoSend is you can do personalization. So what we want to do is put your first name, the first name of the contact receiving the email. So we'll do hi first name, and from there we will ensure that whoever receives this email will receive it addressed to them, which is always nice. So we've got the email there, basically ready to go. What we'll do now is send a test email, and I'll send that to myself and see how it looks. For one reason or another, it might be because I'm on a demo account, so we'll maybe ignore that for now. But if I hit done, we'll hit save draft. There we go, and we'll just Hugo newsletter issue 1, first issue of the newsletter, and we'll save that. We'll just go back in and try doing that test again. Let's try it one more time. If it's not, it's probably because I'm on a testing account. Okay, that's fine. But there we go. We have our email. We have our email tested. Well, we have our email designed, written, as ready to go as possible, ready to send to your audience or to Hugo's audience. So hope that's been helpful. Hope that's maybe been a helpful one to get started with creating great emails in EcoSend. If you've got any questions, if you've got any feedback, anything we went into there that we didn't cover in enough detail, or anything we can do to help you with your email sending, we want to know about it so we can do more videos like this. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.